Good evening, all. Can you hear my voice? Is my audio clear? Is my audio clear? Say yes or no. Okay, thank you. Yamini. So today what we will do is we will work out some programs related to uh, list. Okay. So I thought of dealing with classes and object. Okay, but having known list data structure. Okay, so we need to work out more on that list data structure. Okay, so we'll work out some problems so that we'll get hands on the list data structure. So let me share the screen to you. Yeah, can you see the screen? Which one you are talking about, Mohammed? How to bring our own laptop for test? Which test? Is it Infosys test? Are you talking about? So for Infosys test, there is a test center. No need to carry any laptop. Okay, so that we will discuss in our next session. This is DSA with the Python session. Okay, right. So if a screen is clear to you, okay, so then we will work out more programs on a list data structure so that we'll get full hands on the list data structure. Got it? Okay, right. So we'll go with our first program. Like given a list, okay, so perform the following list operations. Okay, so what are those operations? Print the fifth element, then print the number of elements in the list, then check list is empty or not. Okay, so we need to check whether our list is empty or not. These operations we need to perform on the list. Okay, so assume that a list is given to us. Okay, so then we need to perform these operations on the list. Okay, so first let us create a list. Okay, so let us create a list and do these operations on the list. Got the question? Okay, so if you are ready with your system or laptop, okay, so I'll explain the program and simultaneously you can type on the system and you can execute. Okay, so first let us take, I'll also show the execution part of the list. Okay, just let me check the audio problem. Done. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to take a list containing some numbers. Okay. So directly we'll initialize the list here. For example, assume this is my list. Okay. So I take a variable called as a my list. Then I take some numbers here. Okay. So like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Okay, so some numbers you can take inside the list. This is how we can create a list with a few numbers. Okay, so once we create the list, for example, you want to print the list. Okay, so how you can print the original list? Just by using a print method. Okay, so here you can just print original list, then close the double quotes here. This text you want to print on the screen, whatever text you want to print, that you specify in double quotes, then comma, give the list name here. So list name is my list here. Okay, so it prints the original list, this one. Okay, so now what are our tasks? We want to print the fifth element. Okay, so how we can print the fifth element? Okay, so here I can just write fifth element. Okay, so fifth element, where is the fifth element? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is my fifth element. Okay, so what is its index? Okay, so index of this is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so the fifth element will be at index 4. Okay, so that my, I should say that my list of 4. My list of 4 gives the fifth element. Okay, then print the number of elements in the list. Okay, so you want to find out the number of elements in the list. Okay, so that you can do like a number of elements. So in Python, to print the number of elements, we have a function called as a length function. Okay, so then you can say length. Okay, so then give your list as argument to this function. Okay, so it calculates length indicates the number of elements present in the list. Okay, so it is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 elements. Okay, so then it gives the result as a 8. Then we want to check whether list is empty or not. Okay, so how can we know that whether our list is empty or not? Sometimes we said in previous lectures that you can also create an empty list like this. Okay, so how our program knows that our list is empty or not? Okay, so when the list is empty, any elements in this? No elements in the list. Okay, so that means if you find out the length of this empty list, what is the result you will get? You will get the result as a 0. Okay, so that means if the length of the list is 0, you can understand that the list is empty. This is how you can decide here. Okay, so that condition you should use here. Okay, so if length of a my list, okay, so if length of a my list is equals to 0, if length of my list is equals to 0, then you can print a, okay, so list is empty. List is empty, something you can print. Otherwise, else what you can print? List is not empty. This is how you can decide whether a list is empty or not. Okay, so by using the length function. Okay, so list is not empty. So this way, given some question, you should able to write the program this way by using the list. Okay, so you should use list comfortably. Anyone executed this? Executed? Then, okay, so in this program, now you are using a length here and you are using the length again one. Okay, so instead of that, you can use a variable and you can store length value somewhere in a variable. Okay, so like a number of elements, no? So n is equal to, you can use length of a my list, length of a my list. This way also you can use. Okay, so then you can directly use the variable here, number of elements comma n, it prints n. Here also you can test instead of writing again. Okay, so you can just use the condition like if n is equals to 0. Okay, n is equals to 0, you can print list is empty otherwise. Okay, so instead of calling the function two times, okay, so it is better to use a variable, store the length value in the variable and use that variable, because it is used 2 3 times, no? So better avoid calling the same kind of function again and again. It is a overhead on our program. Got it? Right, okay, so since this is a simple program, you can execute this program easily. So let us move with the next question. Now turn every item of a list into its square. Okay, so you write a program so that every element in the list must be squared, must be squared. Okay, so how we can do that? How we can square each number present in the list? That means initially we take one list. Okay, so then you need to iterate with each number. Okay, so iterate with each number of the list and square it and store the result in some other list. Okay, so a simple program we'll write here. Let us take a simple list here. So I take my list is equals to, okay, so we'll take some numbers 1 2 3 4 5. random numbers you can choose if you want. Okay, so I'm taking a my list. Okay, so then I store the result new list in another list. Okay, so I create an empty list here. So this result contains square of the first list. Each element will be squared and stored in this result list. Okay, so how you can do that? You can traverse this list. For traversing we can use a for loop here. Okay, so like for n in my list, for n in my list, that means n gets a one by one number from the my list here. Okay, so first the value 1 will be transferred to n. Okay, so now you got the first number. Okay, so how you can square it? How you can square it? Now you have n with you. Okay, so how you can square it? Just by multiplying n two times, by multiplying n two times. Okay, or you have another function also. You have another function, another operator also in Python for square. Okay, so you can also say n star star 2. Okay, so this indicates n square. This indicates n square. Okay, now you performed n square. Okay, so this n square value now you add to this result list here. Okay, so to add a value into the result list, okay, a new list, how you can add an element into the list? How you can add an element into the list? N multiplied by n, or n star star 2 also you can use. Okay, now you got the square. So you want to add to this result list. Okay, so how you can add an element to a list? Okay, so that you can do by using the append function. Okay, so result dot append. So initially your result is empty here. Okay, so when you say result dot append n square, n value is 1. 1 square means 1 will be added to your result. 1 will be added to your result here. Okay, so then it goes up. N value gets the next value. So n becomes 2 here. Okay, so then n square, 2 square. Okay, so that 4 will be added to result. Okay, so like this. Next 3 square will be added. Next 4 square will be added. Next 5 square will be added. So the once it reaches end of the list, the loop terminates. Automatically the loop terminates. Okay, so now if you print the result list, then that result list prints this one. You will get square of each number of my list. Got it? So this way you should use the functions appropriately wherever required. If you have any doubts, you can post in the chat. Got it? Okay, so let us execute this. So I'll show the results so that you'll get some confidence. Okay, so got this. So this is our online compiler. You can see the compiler. Okay, now what we do is we type the code and directly we'll print the result. Okay, so let me just print the result. So the same code, meanwhile you can quickly type in your laptop and you can execute and just check out the result. If you are getting any errors, let me know. Okay, so I'll just paste this. This is how you can use the for loop here. Okay, so let me, I generally use these comments. Okay, so done. So when I run this, now you can see the result 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, and 49 squared. Okay. Now this is simple way of writing the program. Okay. But we always want to write an efficient code. Look at writing it efficient code. Okay. So this is a very basic way of writing the code. Okay, so what we can do is we can improve this code. Okay, so we can write an efficient code so that people will appreciate our code. Okay, so I said that uh, if you are performing some operations inside the loop, okay, so that can be converted into list comprehension. You can also solve this by using the list comprehension. Okay, so how you can solve this by using list comprehension, and the advantage you can see how small our code will be if we use this list comprehension. Okay, so let us look at this. Now I will write a same by using the list comprehension. Okay, now you are doing something inside the for loop. Okay, so what is required in this? What is required? You want square of each number. Okay, so that means mathematically this result list should contain square of the each number. Okay, so by using the list comprehension, okay, so now I am writing by using a same code. I am writing by using list comprehension. Okay, so how we can write? Now you can just everything you can write in single line of code. So result is a list, new list. Okay, so in this new list how I want the numbers should be of this form. Okay, so it should be include all the numbers by squaring a n value, by squaring n value. Okay, a new list contains n square, such that where from this n should you get, you should get n from this my list. Okay, so for that you are using this for loop. So after that you write this for loop here. Okay, so because you are saying that include all the numbers of this form n square. Okay, so where from this n should be from this list. No, for that you are using this loop. No, so you write that loop as it is for n in my list, for n in my list. Okay, so it gets each value n in my list and squares it and adds to this list. Okay, now your list result list contains elements of this form. Got it? This is how you can use a simple list comprehension here. Okay, so everything is in one line here. Now if you print the resultant list, then it prints the result like this. See how easy it is. This is called a list comprehension. And if you write a code in this way, okay, so you have better chances of getting selected in interview. This is how you should improve your code. Try to write a efficient code wherever possible. Okay, so use the list comprehension and your code looks good. Okay, so let us execute this. Okay, got it? Any doubt in this? List comprehension. Okay, so if you are still uh, not aware of what is list comprehension, okay, so watch yesterday's video, day 2 video. In that we discussed what is list comprehension. Watch that video and then you will get some idea about list comprehension. Okay, so it is always better use list comprehension instead of using a loop there. So let us execute the code. Okay, so let me run the code. So what I do is I keep this entire thing. Okay. This I remove. Okay. So now instead of initializing it with empty list, directly you can write this here. Okay. So you can just say that result is equal to n or x, something you can use, but whatever variable you use in for loop, it should be same here. Okay, it should be x square, x into x, or x double star 2. You can write anything here. The thing is, it should be squared. It should be squared. How you write, no matter. Okay, but here you use x, and here if you use n, it gives error. Okay, I will show just here. So we got all the numbers squared here. Okay, so single line, previously it was 3 4 lines, but now it is in single line. We achieved the result. Okay, so if you say here in for loop, if you say n, and here if you x square it, then it gives error. Okay, so what kind of error you will get, just see here. Name x is not defined. You are trying to square the x value, but x is not defined in this. That's why it is saying that name x is not defined. This error you will get. Okay, so be careful using the same variable name in loop and also inside this list. Got it? Getting? Okay, so slowly from simple problems to complex problem, you should learn, and you should get full hands on the list data structure. Right, we'll go with the next problem. Okay, so what we do is we'll move on to our PPT, right? Now, so remove empty strings from the list of strings. For example, you are given a list of strings containing some empty strings also. Okay, so you want to remove those empty strings from the list and keep only valid strings inside the list. Okay, so list should be without empty strings. Okay, so how do you do this? How do you do this? Okay, so let us take some list. For example, with empty strings, let us define a list here. So I use something like say list1 is equal to. Okay, so some names you can use. Okay, so like some names we will use like Ramu. Okay, so then we use an empty string here. Okay, so then some name we can use. Okay, so then again empty string. Okay, so then one more empty string, two empty strings in consecutive. Okay, so then you can say some other name like a Ramesh or something you can use. Assume that this is our list with a empty string, list of strings containing empty strings. Now you want to remove all such empty strings from this list. Okay, so how you create a new list containing only proper strings in that? Okay, so this you can do by using a simple list comprehension you can use, or you can go with the for loop. Okay, so better we start using the list comprehension so that you will get easy idea about this list comprehension. Okay, so what we want to take only the proper strings from this. Okay, so that means string containing some characters, those kind of strings we want. Okay, so what I do is I take a new variable called as new list. Okay, so new list containing all the strings yes, containing all the strings yes. Okay, but where from this string yes should I get? Okay, so I should get from this list now. That means I need to run a for loop. So for s in list 1, for s in a list 1, this is how you can write. So include all the strings yes, such that for s in list 1. Okay, so from list 1 you get each string. Okay, and include in this. Okay, before you include, you check that if it is a empty string, don't include. That is what we need to inform here to the Python. Okay, if you close this, it includes all the empty string and also other strings. Okay, but we want to remove these empty strings from this. Okay, so after this for loop, what we want? So include yes, okay, from this list such that, okay, so if yes is not empty, okay, if yes is not empty, for that we can use a condition if yes, if yes. Okay, so in python, okay, if a string contains some characters, non-empty string, okay, so this always uh, returns a true value. It is considered true. Okay, so an empty string is considered as a false. It returns, if you check a string without any characters, that returns a false value. Okay, so if you say if string, if you say if string, that means it contains some characters, then it returns true value. Okay, so if you ask if this is a string, no, then it returns a false. It is empty, it returns a false. Okay, so this if condition you should use after the for loop. Okay, you can go on writing in line like this. You can add any number of conditions here. Okay, so this is a simple list comprehension. It gives the new list, and if you print the new list, then what it contains? It contains only like Ramu. Okay, so then Sita. Okay, so then Ramesh. All empty strings are removed from this. This is the way you will get the new list with proper strings. Got it? Okay. So hope you might have executed it. I'm not seeing any response. Yes or no? If you really like the code, okay, so just you can give thumbs up. So let us quickly see how we can use this. So you can use any names there. Okay, so let me copy the code in compiler. So let us create some list here. Okay, so this is my original list. Then I am getting the new list here. Okay, so I can print the new list here. Say print non-empty list. Now if I run the code, now I get this non-empty list like this. Now you can see apple, banana, cherry. Okay, but there is again a non-empty string here. Okay, so why it's so? Because it is not a non-empty string. It seems to be an empty string. It seems to be an empty string. There is one empty string it is showing here. It seems to be an empty string, but it is not an empty string because there is a gap between these two single quotes. Okay, so if you observe this, you can see here There is a gap. Okay, so that means it contains white space. White space is also treated as one character. White space is also treated as a one character. Okay, so that's why we are getting this string, but it seems to be an empty string, but it is not an empty string. White space is also treated as character. Now if you remove that white space, if you remove that white space and run the code again, now you can see, now it is removed. Okay, so empty string means there should not be any space included between double quotes or single quotes. Then that is called empty string. No character should present. If you give a space, then that is treated a valid string. White space is also a valid character. Got it? Okay, so now what you can do is to overcome this. Okay, so to overcome this, now you can use a function called as a filter function is there. Okay, so a filter function you can use, and you can use the filter function like this. I just show here filter form, and I can just say filter none from the list one, or you can use something like original list. Okay, so my list name is original list here. So I'm storing in a variable called as a result. Now if I print a result, okay, so what it prints we will see here. Okay, so I run this code. Now you can see printed. Okay, so that means white space is also treated as a valid character. That's why both treating white space as valid character. See here. Okay, so if you remove this white space from here, and if you run, then it gives. Okay, so what about this filter function, what it is doing here? Okay, so filter none from the original list. That means in the original list, if there are any none values, that means the empty string is treated as a none value. Empty string is treated as none value. Okay, so all such none values will be filtered. Okay, so this is not treated as null value. If there are some characters, it is not treated as a none value. Okay, so all such a none values will be removed, filtered from the original list. Okay, and that is returned. Okay, that is returned, and the list function converts the result into again a list form. Okay, so that again I am catching this in a variable result. If I print result, then this is what printed here. Okay, so you should remember these functions also. Okay, so instead of writing this list comprehension here, that means you are running a loop here, no? Okay, so without a loop, if you use this predefined function, it is more efficient. Got it? Like, so we'll take up next program. Remove duplicates from list. Okay, so if your list contains duplicate values, then you need to remove those duplicate values from the list. Only distinct values it should store. Okay, only distinct values it should store. All duplicate values should be deleted. Okay, so for this what you can do is in Python, okay, so list allows duplicate values. We said that list allows duplicate values like 1 2 2 3 comma 3. Okay, so these kind of duplicate values allowed in a list, but there is another data structure called as a set. Okay, so this set data structure does not allow duplicate values. That means it stores only distinct values. It stores only distinct values. Okay, so if you pass this list to set here 1 2 2, okay, so then 3 3. So what this function do is it takes only distinct values from this and returns that. Okay, so that if you store in a variable L, your L looks like this. It contains only distinct values like this. All duplicates are removed. Just pass your list to set. That's it. Duplicates will be deleted and only distinct values will present in the list. Got it? Okay, so let us execute this. Let me take a list with the duplicate values. Okay, so then I'll show and I'll print only the unique values. Now we can execute this. Just see. Now this is our list. You can see here. Okay. So our list with the duplicates, I created one list 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 1, 4, 5, 4 like this. I created a list here. Okay. So then I am passing that list to set here. Okay. So it creates a set. It creates a set. That means it contains only, it gives only the distinct values and it returns a set object. Okay, so that set object I am storing in this unique elements set. Okay, but I want to convert that set into list. So that what I need to do, I need to pass it to list function again. Okay, so it will be converted back into list again. So if you print the original list and duplicate without a duplicate or distinct elements or unique elements. Okay, so this unique list contains only unique elements. Now if you run the code, now you can see original list is with duplicates and list with unique elements 1 2 3 4 5 only present in this list. Okay, now this way of writing the print function also you should learn. Okay, so for that purpose I written here print function. There are two ways to print this one. Okay, so I'll show you uh, the first way of printing this. Now you can just use the print function this way. Within the double quotes, whatever text you want to print, okay? So that text must be enclosed in double quotes. After that, you should put comma here, okay? So then give the variable name after the comma. Okay, so then it prints the values present in that variable. Now you can see original list printed here from the first print, okay? And this second print prints the original list here. Okay, and this is the list. So two ways are there. Now the better formatting way is by using this letter F here. Okay, so you can use the letter F. You can use the letter F here. Okay, so this F you can use that letter, and everything you can include inside the double quotes. That is the advantage here. But how to write the variable, that you should understand there. Okay, so how to write this variable, that you should understand here. Okay, so then whatever variable you want to include, now see f followed by f followed by, so first you should start with the letter f, then followed by double quotes. Okay, so within the double quotes you can write everything whatever you want. Okay, so whatever you want you can include in the, just see here. Okay, so this should be f followed by double quotes and you write original list, whatever uh, text you want to print. Okay, then the variable must be enclosed in a parenthesis here when you use this way of. Okay, so when you use parenthesis and whatever you write inside the parenthesis, this is treated as a variable name. This is treated as a variable name. Okay, but this can be inside the double quotes. This entire thing can be inside the double quotes. That's it. Okay, so this is another way of writing the formatted string in print. Okay, now if you write the question uh, program like this, okay, so the in interview the immediate question that comes to you is, can you write the same program without using set function? Without using a set function. Okay, so can you just write, modify your program? That's what the interviewer asks you. How do you do that? You are given a list. Okay, so you are given a list here. Then you want to eliminate the duplicates from this list. Okay, so let us implement. That is what the actual logic is. Okay, so let us implement this without using set function. If you want to perform this duplicate elimination, how you can do that? Okay, so these things always, when you are using some uh, predefined function or method, okay, so you should think of, without using this function, can I perform the same task or not? If you can start writing a logic for such kind of things, okay, so then your logic building will be improved. Your logic building will be improved. That means in critical conditions, how to write a logic, how to generate a logic. Okay, so you'll come to know. Got it now. So list with duplicate elements is there. Okay, so you want to eliminate duplicates. You should not use any predefined function like set. You should not use. Okay, so what is the logic here? How we can do that? Okay, so what we need to do? We need to traverse the list up to the end. Okay, so while traversing, take each element, and if it is not a duplicate, then add it to the new list. Okay, so we'll take a new list variable here. We'll take a new list. Okay, so we'll take an empty list here. So if it is not a duplicate, okay, so then we add it to this new list. But how do we know that it is duplicate or not duplicate? It is occurring only one time. Okay, so first let us traverse the list. What is the way of traversing the list? By using the for loop. Okay, so something like for n in list, for n in a list. So first n gets the first number 1. Okay, so 1, if 1 okay, so is not a duplicate value, we want to know that it is not a duplicate value, and you should add it to the this new list. You should add it to the new list. Okay, so how do we know that? If a number is not present in this new list, if a number is not present in this new list, you can assume that it is occurring only one time. It is not a duplicate number. If it is a duplicate number, we don't add it to the list. Okay, that means if it is not a member of this new list, then add it. If it is already a member, that means the next number is a duplicate of one of these numbers. Okay, so for that, how do we test whether it is a member or not? For membership operator, we said in is there. In is called a membership operator. Okay, so now I got n value. See here. So n value, I will get first 1. So I am checking whether 1 is present in this new list or not. So how do we do that? If n, okay, so if n not in, so there are two operators I said, in and not in. So if n not in a new list, if it is not present in the new list, okay, so then what we need to do? You add to the new list. How do we add an element to the list? By using append function. Now you can say new list dot append, new list dot append, then you say n. So n will be added to this new list. Okay, then it goes to the for loop, then n value, next it takes 2 here, then it checks n not in new list, 2 not in new list, yes, it is not there, so then add it to the new list. 2 will be added to the new list. Okay, so then n gets the next 2. Okay, so then it checks n not in new list, n not in new list, 2 not there, already it is there. Okay, so if this condition is true, then only it executes this one. Otherwise what happens, it goes to the next iteration of the loop. Okay, so that means this is simply discarded. If it is a duplicate value, it is discarded. Okay, so n gets next 3 now, the value 3 it gets, then it checks. Okay, so n 3 not in new list, yes, it is not there in the new list, add it to the new list. Okay, then n gets the next 3 num, so then it checks 3 not in new list, no, it is already there, so it won't execute, it goes up, that means this is not added. So end of the list reached, then the loop ends. Now if you print the new list, then the new list contains only the unique values. 1, 2, 3 will be printed. This is how it is printed. Okay, so this is how you can develop the logic. Writing these kind of programs you should practice initially. Once you know how to implement these kind of things, okay, afterwards you can use these predefined functions. Okay, got? This is how you should develop your logic building. Okay, right. Then we'll move with the next program. So what is our next? Now remove all occurrences of a specific item from a list. This is another important question. Okay, so the question seems to be simple. Then you need to remove all occurrences of a specific item from a list. Okay, but generally yesterday we said that when we use a remove function, okay, so remove something like 5 if we ask, then it always removes the first occurrence. We said that it removes the first occurrence of the number. Okay, but you want all occurrences of this 5 should be removed from the list. How do we do that? How do we do that? The same logic you can use. Yes or no? You can use the same logic. Okay, so how we can do that? That means you have a list. You take a list containing some duplicate numbers like 10, 20. Okay, so 30, 20, 40, 50, 20. So again 30, like this. Now you want to remove all occurrences of the element 20 from this. All occurrences of this element 20 for this. Okay, so what you can do? What you can do? Just you run a loop on this. Okay, so how do you run a loop? For example, for n in a list. For n in a list. So how you will get? For n in a list. Okay, so here you should specify the element to be deleted. Okay, so which element you want to delete, so that you should store in a variable called as a element here. Okay, so for n, that means you will get the first number. If the number is equal to our element, n is equal to our element, then you say remove that number from the list. Okay, so now I can use a loop here. If n is equal to element, if n is equals to element, okay, so then what you can say, you can just say remove. So you can use the function called as a remove. It simply removes the element here. Okay, so now you can say just remove n here. So after removing n, the list will be updated here. Okay, so after each iteration what happens, I'll just tell you here. Okay, so first n gets the value 10. N gets the value 10 here. Okay, so when n value is equal to 10, then it checks n is equal to element, n value is 10. 10 is equal to 20. No, then again it goes. Then it comes to the next one. N value this time 20. Okay, then it checks 20 equal to 20. Yes, then list dot remove n. Okay, so what happens means this 20 will be deleted from the list. 20 will be deleted from the list. Okay, so by the time the control goes up here, in your list looks like this. Okay, so the list will look like this. Now your list is 10, 30, 20. Okay, so then 40, 50, then 20, 30. It looks like this. Okay, so then it gets the next number. Okay, so next number 30 it gets. Then it checks 30 is equal to 20. No. Okay, so that is not deleted. Then again it gets the next number 20 equal to 20. Yes, this is deleted. The list will be updated like this. Then it gets the next number. Okay, so 40 it gets. Is it equal to 20? No. 50? No. 20? Yes, this is deleted. 30? No. That's it. So like this the loop ends, and it removes all the occurrences of this one. Finally, if you print your list will be removing all the occurrences of the element 20. It looks like this. Okay, so your list looks like this. Got it? This is how you should develop a small piece of codes. You should start writing on your own. You should not take the help of any AI like Chat GPT or Gemini. And you should execute it, and you should test your program. So this way, if you start practicing your code, okay, so then definitely your logic building will be improved. So let us run this code. Use our compiler. We'll run on the compiler. Okay, so let's get back to our compiler. So we'll define a list here. Okay, so with the duplicate values like 10, 20, 30. Okay, so then 20, again 40, then 50, then 20 again, like this. Okay, so assume. So then what we need to do, we run a for loop here. So for n in a list, for n in a list, so we also specify the element to be deleted. So we take a variable called as element, and 20 is the element to be deleted. Okay, so this must be given here. So now we'll check if n is equals to element. If n is equals to element, then you should say that list dot remove, list dot remove, then n you can say. If you say pop, it always removes the last element, but we want this specific element to be deleted. Okay, so then finally we'll print the list here. Okay, so if we print the list, what it prints we will see here. Okay, so you should not, because list is already a function. Okay, now if I use the same function name as variable name, what happens? Okay, so now it is allowed. It takes, now see, 10, 30, 40, 50. Okay, so but better use a different name. Okay, use a different name. Don't use predefined names which are there for functions. Okay, so if you run the loop, now you can see only the list without the element 20 it displays. Got? Now since we are doing something with for loop, you can convert this into list comprehension. Yes or no? You can convert this into list comprehension. Say yes or no. Okay, so can you modify this using list comprehension? Just type in the chat. Type in the chat. Can you perform the same with list comprehension? Okay, so how we can do that? By using list comprehension. Okay, in list comprehension, what we required, we want a new list. Okay, so containing only other elements other than element that. Okay, so that element must be deleted. So something will say that include all the elements of a type I. Okay, so where from you should get I? So that means for I, or you can also write same n you are using, no? So n you use here, the same for loop, you bring this for loop inside this. Okay, so for n in list 1, for n in list 1, so then it gets all the values. Okay, but which kind of n values you should include in this list, which are not equal to 20. Okay, so that means use a condition here. So if n is not equals to, if n is not equals to element, you include in the list. That's it. Okay, otherwise don't include. That is what we are saying to this. Okay, this is the code. Directly you can use this inside the print. Directly your new list will be printed here. Just see. In single line you have completed, instead of these 3 or 4 lines of code, now is completed in single line. Now I run this code. Okay, so list 1 unindented, which one? Yeah, this one, unindented print statement. Okay, so if you give space, you should start typing your code from the first column onwards. In Python, this is the requirement. Indentation problem you will get. Okay, if you give unnecessary spaces here. So the same I got here. So there is extra space in print when I copied this. So that's why it is saying that unindented does not match any other indented. Okay, and whenever you use a for loop or if conditions, they must be indented here. Okay, so that's how we identify the statements belonging to the for loop or belonging to the if, by using this indentation only. We don't use curly braces here. In other languages we use curly braces, but here we don't use in Python. Okay, so it is identified by indentation itself. Right, now I run the code. Now you can see, so this statement, single line statement, now printed. Okay, now if you delete this, now see, previously 4 lines, now it is achieved in single line. Now if you run this, now this kind of writing coding you should develop. Got it? Okay, so this is how you should start writing the code. Efficient way of writing, more Pythonic way. This is called more Pythonic way of writing the code. Okay, if you write this one. Okay, so see here, your code length 7 lines or 6 lines, but if you delete this, now your code with 3 lines. Okay, and people also appreciate if you use this list comprehension efficiently. Definitely there are more chances of getting selected. Okay, so students who write with loops and students who write with list comprehension, there is a difference. Always the corporate people appreciate these kind of students. They look for these kind of students who write code with the list comprehension, precise code, concise code, I should say. Got it? Okay, so this way you practice more programs, more and more programs on list. Okay, so tomorrow also we will do some more programs related, some more complex programs we'll take. Okay, and we'll try to solve those list related, list data structure related problems in tomorrow. Okay, so thank you one and all. So if you found this video helpful, please like the video and also share this video. And if you are new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and also turn on the bell icon for more updates. So thank you one and all.